I think we need to have a conversation. I don't know who you are or where you're from, but whoever you are, is this what we've become? Is this who we are? Because I believe we're better than this. I don't know how we got where we are now, and I don't know how we can fix it. But if we don't talk about this, our children will suffer greatly for our mistakes. America is still the last stand. It's the last place on earth that people have to be free.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
Samuel Adams once said, "For true patriots to be silent is dangerous." And I believe he was right. We've allowed ourselves to be silenced and let the fear of what others think stop us from speaking on the matters that mean the most. And today, I'm going to prove that the Founding Fathers knew exactly what the government of today would be doing. Not only did they know, they tried to warn us, and they told us what to do. Here on Value Mind, this is our goal. We're going to teach America what's been hidden from us. In other words, we're going to teach you everything that your government never wanted you to know. A wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, shall leave them otherwise free, to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. This is the sum of good government. What Jefferson was saying was that government's only purpose is to protect us from each other, to protect our rights, and to make sure we don't violate one another. It was never meant to tax us, at least not the way that it does now. In fact, there was no such thing as an income tax until the year 1913. The founders would have never allowed this. Society in every state is a blessing, but government, even in its best state, is but a necessary evil. In its worst state, an intolerable one. In other words, if mankind was perfect, we wouldn't need a government. But since we are all imperfect beings, we must institute government to counteract the vices of our human nature. But when you allow your government to get too big, it amplifies these vices and begins to portray them itself. And when a government begins to amplify these traits, these flaws of human nature, well, you're starting to see what happens now. That's right. The Founding Fathers knew political parties would happen too. And they did everything they could to try and warn us that these factions would in the end destroy us. George Washington, in his farewell address, once stated this: "However political parties may now and then answer popular ends, they are likely in the course of time and things to become potent engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion." This was our first warning, that no matter who you elect, no matter what party it is, they will always destroy what they said they would protect. And Washington continued. He said, "Let me warn you in the most solemn manner against the baneful effects of the spirit of party generally. This spirit, unfortunately, is inseparable from our nature, having its roots in the strongest passions of the human mind. It exists under different shapes in all governments, more or less stifled, controlled, or repressed, but in those of the popular form, it is seen in its greatest rankness, and is truly their worst enemy."
Not too long ago, two friends of mine were talking to a Cuban refugee, a businessman who had escaped from Castro. And in the midst of his story, one of my friends turned to the other and said, "We don't know how lucky we are." And the Cuban stopped and said, "How lucky you are. I had some place to escape to." And in that sentence, he told us the entire story. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government, or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down.